Okay, so I am just gonna record another video explaining Phase 3 and how things are gonna change. Hopefully this will be a bit easier, because we'd have had a lot of really awkward kind of crossovers and knockbacks and things like that weren't the way we were trying to learn it the other day. I'm also going to include better markers in this video, and I'm going to talk about the various mechanics like the knockbacks we can use to get to different markers. To start the phase, Denetrius will teleport into the middle of the room. Ranged will already be over here with melee. Melee will be going straight back through the mirror and end up over here. Ranged don't go through the mirror, they just run up to diamond. Okay? Melee will be moving up to the boss. The first thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a shattering knockback. Not much to say about this, but you do need to be on full health for the next ability that comes out, which is Blood Price. Okay, this Blood Price is the first one of three. You're going to want to use a defensive for it if it's going to hit you ridiculously hard, because straight after that there's going to be some movement and soaking. So I noticed some people that didn't use defensive the other day, it would knock them down to sort of 20%, and that's not what we need. Okay. So straight after that Blood Price, there's going to be seeds. So our first set of seeds, this is not going to be any different to what we've learned. So ranged are going to drop their seeds at X, melee are going to drop their seeds at square. One thing to note is if you get two sets of seeds, okay, please drop the second set closer to the middle rather than further away. Don't drop them over here or whatever. Make sure that they're going in towards the boss rather than away, but make sure they are next to each other and overlapping as well. And that means that melee and tanks don't have as far to run to make sure they're getting those soaks, okay? So after we've dropped the seeds, we're going to follow our normal rule of rotating clockwise. That's not going to change in this tactic at all. So this guy will move back to the middle. The rest of melee will rotate down to X, and ranged will rotate round to square, like so. Okay. After that, there is a knockback, which melee and tanks can use to get back to the middle. Okay, and then straight after that, there's going to be more seeds. Ranged will drop their seeds at triangle, melee at star, rotate clockwise. That's all there is to it. Straight after that, there's going to be another knockback, which melee can use to get back to the middle, and should. Ranged, this is, and everyone else, this is where we are going to be baiting Ravager. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to stack to the left of Star. Tanks and melee, you need to make sure you're on this side of the boss. And essentially we're trying to bait Ravager that way. We're not going to be using a gate for this, okay? So what's going to happen is there's going to be seeds and massacre at the same time. However, here's how it's going to go. As soon as the Ravager is animating, okay, ranged, you're going to beeline it for square and drop your seeds, okay, same as before, and avoid the massacres, okay. Melee and tanks and boss, all you are going to do is drop yours in the middle. Yeah, sorry, I just had to relook at my notes there for a second. I was like, wait a minute, hang on. Okay, so melee, you're going to be dropping yours in the middle. Now, this is really important that you understand what's going to happen here, okay? So, Ravager's going to come in, okay? Ranged, you are doing the same thing as before, you're moving over here. If you are melee and tanks and you don't have seeds on you, just move to triangle, okay? Just move casually over there, okay? And get out of the Ravager, okay? If you have seeds to drop, then you need to drop them here, okay? That's where you want to put them. If there's two, then drop them next to each other, okay? Do not drop them in the Ravager, you will fuck over the ranged really hard, okay? So you need to drop them here. The rest of melee needs to be here. Ranged are already going to be here, dropping seeds and avoiding massacres, okay? Then we're just going to rotate clockwise. Ranged, you're going to rotate into the middle, and everyone, all of the melee and tanks and stuff are going to rotate over to square, okay? So, this is where we're going to use our first knockback to actually get somewhere, because straight after these seeds there's going to be a knockback. Ranged, you're going to use that knockback to get over to nipple, and melee, you're going to use it to get closer back to the middle, okay? You kind of want to be more at the corner, okay? Then there's going to be another Blood Price. This is where you want to. There needs to be healing cooldowns and stuff here. Okay. Melee, just make sure you don't end up in the Ravager, because obviously if you're on, if you're on this side of the boss when Blood Price goes off, he'll throw you over here. Okay. So you want to be making sure that you're either over this side or somewhere else not terrible. Okay. Tanks as well, same thing, okay? So then there's going to be some more seeds, okay? So these seeds are the same as before, so ranged, you're going to be dropping them over here where you're already standing, okay? And melee, you are going to be dropping yours at diamond, okay? So you don't even have to go very far, okay? The rest of melee are just going to stay here DPSing the boss right on the corner of the Ravager. Ranged, try to drop yours to the right of circle and like kind of alongside the Ravager. If there's two or if there's one, just drop it here, okay? Closer to the melee, remember? Okay. Now, as soon as these have been dropped, obviously we're going to rotate clockwise. These melee will come and just soak here. That's it. And this melee will run up and move clockwise. Ranged will move clockwise. The rest of range should be over here, okay? And they'll just rotate clockwise round to diamond, okay? Then, once these have been soaked, there's going to be another Shattering Pain, okay? This is going to knock ranged probably about here, and melee, you are going to use that to just get back to the middle again. The name of the game for you a lot of the time is just getting back to the middle. Just don't end up in the Ravager, and you'll be fine, okay? This is, so you're going to use the Shattering Pain to get back into the middle, and this is where you need to be moving to start getting ready for the next Ravager that's going to come out, okay, because we need to bait it over to this side of the room. So what's going to happen is, ranged after this knockback, you're going to move up to triangle, okay, and melee, all you need to do is, after you've been knocked into the middle, just make sure you're on this side of the Ravager, okay, you know, ideally like over here somewhere, okay, just make sure you're on that side of it, don't go too far, okay, so this is going to be the really nasty, awkward, crossover between Ravager, Shattering Pain, Seeds, and Massacre. Okay, so as soon as he starts channeling the Ravager, which is going to cover a big chunk of the room, okay, this is where ranged, there needs to be a gate up here, and ranged are going to use that gate to... ranged are going to use that gate to get over to Nipple, okay? Ranged are going to be dancing around Massacres, and they are going to drop those seeds same place they did before, along as best they can, along and to the right here, okay? Melee, you actually... just need to use the knockback to get knocked back onto this side. However, if you're using a knockback immunity like a DK, obviously just run or get into space. Like, the main thing is not to get hit by the Massacres, right? So if it means moving over here to not die, then just do that. That's not a problem, okay? The rest of you, Paladins, for example, will be bubbling, so you don't really care. You'll just do whatever you want. You'll be bopping two people who... still can't stand in the Ravager, but will be able to come and stand in Massacre if they really want to. So you can just keep moving and being over here. The rest of you, as melee, you need to be making sure that you're avoiding the Massacres and basically getting into space. Okay, so we've used a gate. We've dropped seeds over here. Melee, you are going to be dropping yours over at X. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. So as soon as you get the seed, you need to be dropping yours here. Ranged are going to be dropping theirs there, and then we're just going to rotate clockwise. So this Ravager is actually a little bit inaccurate because it's going to be more like this. Corners, eh? Anyway, diamond won't exist. Diamond will be covered. I'm just not doing very well with my triangles. But yeah, melee and the boss will rotate up here to do these, and ranged after you've been... So you've gone through the gate, you've dropped your seeds, you've avoided Massacre, and then all you've done is you've rotated round to X, okay? Melee, what you've done is you've used all your immunities and things like that to avoid death. You have dropped a seed at X, or possibly two, and then you've rotated up to circle, okay? And then there's going to be, after those seeds, there's going to be another knockback. So this is a bit of an awkward one. So after these seeds have been soaked, tanks, you need to take the boss kind of much more this way. And then melee and tanks need to be standing on the other side of the boss, okay? Facing kind of down here. Ranged, you can move like a lot closer and make sure that the knockback sends you this way, okay? And then you just kind of end up kind of near your original marks and go back to them, okay? Yeah, there's not much else to say about the rest of the fight. I think you know it. Essentially, you'll get knocked back into your original places. Then there's going to be a blood price. You're going to want to use defensives for this last blood price, I imagine. And they should be back up for most of you at that point. Now, this is the final seed straight after this. Okay, so blood price, and then final seeds that we're actually going to soak. Range, just drop them to the right of X, or one of them to the right of X, or both, like around this area. Melee, try and drop them as close to the center as you can. So tanks, boss, and melee will stay here. Okay. Ranged will be dropping their seeds here, but the rest of the range pack will be here. The rest of the melee pack, and then essentially the melee who's dropping will just drop it here. Okay, and then move back into position and rotate round. And that's it. Okay. Then there's going to be another knockback. Don't get knocked back into the Ravager if you can help it. Melee, don't get knocked back off the side. Make sure you're getting knocked back into useful positions. And then there's going to be some more seeds, but they're the ones that we completely ignore. Just drop those seeds anywhere you want. Keep DPSing the boss, and that will be the kill right there. Okay? Still keeping the same rule as before. We're always rotating clockwise. Just what we're doing in this strat is we're using the Shattering Pain knockbacks to adjust our position, okay? So it just gets more complex after the first Ravager. where basically, but it should be a lot easier on melee actually, because melee are mostly just moving out and then moving to the left or right of middle, and melee are also mostly using the knockbacks to traverse around the room. The only long distance run that ranged have to do in this strat is from star to square, because the other long distance run they're doing is they're using a gate for it, so it's no problem. Okay. That should cover it. Anyway, so look, I will see you guys on Monday, and let me know if you've got any questions.